G'day guys, it's pretty early, maybe early for some of you. It's actually not as early as what I normally do. We'll just see how many people are going on here. There's a few in here now. I was going to go live yesterday, but I probably wasn't quite there yet to do that. As you probably have seen on the post that I put on YouTube, I've had some health issues going on. I suppose I'll give you a quick insight into that, I suppose, before we carry on. I've had a bit of a cold, I guess. I thought it was a cold for probably a couple of months before you start throwing out the C word. We live really remotely. No one in our town has ever had COVID. No one in any neighbouring towns have had COVID. We've been pretty lucky here. I would say, in spite of what the government does as far as COVID goes, we live on an island, for crying out loud. We shouldn't have it here at all. But anyway, I digress. I was pretty crook about. I started getting crook about 2 months ago. Just a bit of a cough and a bit shortness of breath, and went to the doc, and they said you've got a lung infection. So we treated it for a lung infection with some antibiotics, some steroids, and Ventolin puffer. And I started coming good, and then I started, after I finished those antibiotics and stuff, I started getting a bit crook again, and they gave me a referral for an x-ray, and I went to get an x-ray, and the x-ray came back clear, and I said, well, I still need to see the doc because I'm not breathing that well. And before I actually got to the appointment to see the doc, which was on the Wednesday, on the Tuesday night I woke up and I could hardly breathe. And because I live so remotely, there is ambulance in town. They wouldn't be there. It's not like it's a manned station or anything. They've got to get called in, get the ambulance, and come out to you. So I live maybe 6 kilometres out of town, maybe 7, and I basically went, sod it, just drive myself there. And I got there, and they ran some tests and put some more Ventolin into me, and I started breathing again, and I was about to go home the next day. The doctor that had been treating me came in to see me, and they said it's probably just the end of the infection, and just keep up the Ventolin. And as I was walking out, I was about to walk out, a doctor who's a well-regarded doctor in this town, he's a bit of a bloody legend himself. He saw me, and I've done a little bit of work with him before. Not medical stuff, like community sort of stuff. And he saw me, and he asked the doctor, what's he doing here? And the other doctor said, this is what's been going on. And he said, well, he's struggling to breathe. He's not old enough to be looking like that. Anyway, he said, just wait a minute. And they had a chat, and before you know it, I'm not going home. And he said, oh, you're going to get some scans, some CT scan, and I went to get that, and my lungs were full of blood clots, really small blood clots. So they went, you're not going anywhere, you can stay right here. So at the moment I've been jabbed and prodded with that many freaking needles. The case that I have, it's pretty unusual apparently. I felt like I was on an episode of House every morning when this fleet of doctors would come in and start looking at me, and they'd converse as to what's going on. It was kind of weird, but kind of cool. But obviously I'm breathing okay now. I watched, when I was editing the video for the tripods, I was watching, as I'm editing, I'm thinking, what the hell's wrong with this? I sound like I'm wheezing and stuff, and I just didn't realise at the time. And anyway, when I woke up on that Tuesday night, my wife, there's only just the two of us here, and her father, unfortunately, he's had a stroke, and he lives up a long way away from us. He up in northern Queensland, the other end of the country, basically. And her and her sister, she flew up there to see him because he was in a pretty bad way. He still is in a bad way. So I was home alone, and when this happened, it kind of freaked me out a bit, and kind of needed some help. So anyway, the guys there in the hospital, they're just awesome. I can't speak highly enough of them. The doctor was great. The doctors were great. The nurses were great. All the staff in there were just bloody awesome. So anyway, I'm here now, and we're all good to go. I'm glad I'm better too. Let's get on with this rock show. There's a few things I want to talk about. Not too many. If you've got stuff that you want to know, just throw it down. This one probably won't be that long. I don't want to overdo it. I'm breathing just fine, but if we're not just going to sit here for shits and giggles and talk about stuff just because I'm live, it doesn't make sense to me. I've usually got a bit of an agenda I want to run through, and if I see things there that you guys want to know, we'll know. You will have seen I've started doing some sponsored stuff. So people have been sending me stuff like the Ulanzi gear, the lighting, and the tripods and things like that. And I do these videos because I think you're going to get something out of them. And I either get paid for it or I get shit for free. And either one of those two. Now, when people ask me, and I get contacted a fair bit for sponsorship deals, I probably get at least an email every week, sometimes up to 4 a week. And vast majority, and some of them will actually go and contact other companies and say, hey, I'd like to do this, can you send me some stuff? And the video that I'm recording now, I was out there last night just taking some photos. I haven't I've started recording the video, then I've got crook, but I was just out there taking some photos last night, and I was really happy that I approached this company because what I actually achieved last night, I was blown away by it. I was really impressed with it. So that one will actually come out this next week, and just wait and see. Basically, what I'm saying here is I get contacted by a lot of people, and I just generally tell people no. Unless I think you're going to get something out of it. It's all well and good for me to sit here and go, yeah, send me that shit because that's cool. I don't want to play with it. But unless you're going to get something out of it, I'm not going to do it. So I've been approached by companies who make apps for your Instagram feed and stuff like that. It's kind of what we do, but we don't do much with Instagram. Instagram's a photography thing. We do photography stuff, but it's certainly not. You guys aren't going to benefit out of that. I'd like to think that everything that I've put to you guys so far, you would benefit from. I've promoted apps like the photo competition app, and I know people on this channel have actually got stuff out of that. So I'm happy that that's the case. I did some stuff for Greg, a little thing for Greg McMillan with his podcast, and I know that you guys would get stuff out of that. If you go and listen to his podcast, you're going to get stuff out of it. The Ulanzi stuff, well, you know that I'm a big fan of Ulanzi. The gear is cheap, like money-wise, and the quality is just not cheap. It's really good quality stuff. And if we can use it, their gear that they make, in a way that's going to benefit the sort of work that we do here on this channel, I'm absolutely going to take that. And I've got a few more, even whilst I was in hospital. Actually, when I drove out the driveway and there was a parcel in my mailbox and it was more gear to put on the channel, and I had a look at it and I thought, this is pretty good gear, and I'll make videos about that very soon. So don't think I'm just throwing shit at you because I'm getting paid for it. That's not the case. No one's actually said that. I just wanted to make sure that you guys were all on board with that. If it fits the channel, we'll do it. If I think you guys are going to benefit from it, I'll do it. All of these companies who do this, by the way, they say you do this, you get the gear for whatever, or we pay you to do the video. And I usually have an affiliate link with them as well. So if you go ahead and buy it, I'll get a commission on it. So there's disclosure. Let's have a quick read of this. Glad you're back. So am I. And it's actually good to see you here, Devo, because you usually miss this, don't you? On a lighter note, no. It was really an afterthought sort of thing. I put something on my Facebook page, on my personal Facebook page, because people just didn't know where I was and what was going on. And even though I'm a YouTuber, I'm a pretty private person. I generally don't share too much stuff out there, like personal stuff. So when all this was going on in hospital, I even got home and I said to Sarah, my wife, I said, I probably should call Nicole, my sister, and tell her what's going on, because I'm pretty private. Like, I'll tell my kids what's going on, but and my closest friends what's going on. But I thought I should probably, and mainly with you guys, because you guys are, you're kind of, there's a few things that happen in my mind about like Sarah's priority, kids are priority, and work balance is priority, and then I go, well, part of my work balance is this community, so I kind of wanted to keep you informed as to what was going on. But the average Joe in the street that sees me now and then and says G'day, and I might have a beer with them, I generally don't tell them that sort of stuff. But people were asking what's happened, and so anyway, I put a post on there, and it's a little short spiel about what I've just basically told you guys, and there was a different photo than what I showed you guys, but it's nothing spectacular photography wise. It wasn't front of my mind to take photos whilst I was in there. After I left, I thought I should have taken some selfies with the doctors and nurses and stuff, because they're just bloody awesome people. But I just didn't. It wasn't the place for it. One of my friends said, he said, I'm glad you didn't shoot a video the whole time you were there, and some of it could have been pretty graphic and horrible looking video. That I thought I should have gone live the whole time for like 4 days that I was in hospital. But anyway, I digress. Still happy with your Samsung Ultra 21 for the cost of the phone. Yeah, it's a good it's a good camera, especially for the night stuff that we do, and I make no secret about that. I can tell you though that I've stopped using it as a phone. I use this one. Oh, can't show you too much about that because you'll see what the next video is. But I use the iPhone more so now than anything else. The SIM card's in the iPhone again, and that's mainly because of the environment that I'm in. I have Mac, iPads, all that sort of business, and every time I want to do something in that environment, it just works 100% of the time. And there's nothing wrong with the Samsung, don't get me wrong. It's I can usually get things to work with the Samsung, but it usually takes a bit of mucking around to get it to work, and that just kind of pisses me off. It takes great photos. Things that are on the iPhone, they just work 100% of the time for me. That's okay. I'm not about to stop taking photos with either one, and that's what this channel's about. It's all about photography, and the camera that's on that Samsung is just mint. I don't regret buying it at all. Let's keep going through this. Greg, g'day Greg. I'm glad I'm feeling better too, man. What email can I send my photo? Send it to info@shanemostonphotography.com.au, or if you go to the YouTube channel, onto my channel, and go to the About tab, it's got a link there to an email address. It's clear to me that you have a passion for this stuff too, and that's priceless. Need to put a price on it, Greg. I need to make money. You missed one? But you made a point of telling me that you missed one, Devo. Have you invested in crypto? No, I haven't invested in crypto. I'm the sort of person who puts money under your mattress. I don't really like having to rely on people to do anything for me. It's a thing that it's a I don't know. It's a mental thing, I suppose, that I hate relying on anybody or anything. That's just how I am. It's a cause, I guess, of anxiety, I guess, when you're relying on somebody to do something that doesn't happen. And that's not necessarily a person. That's usually an institution of some sort, whether that be any level of government, any level of banking, or any healthcare or anything like that. I hate being in the situation where I'm reliant on someone to do something. When things are in my power, I wouldn't say I'm a control freak or anything like that. Don't get me wrong, but I hate, like, for example, our farm, we rely on the water to irrigate our farm, and when the government in Canberra, like thousands of kilometres away, are making decisions about what's happening on this farm with water, they wouldn't have a clue what's going on, but they're making decisions about it, and that causes me anxiety about that. It's they make the water so expensive that you can't do anything with it. They say, oh, we're going to put this out to environmental water, and this water goes out into the ocean for environmental reasons. So meanwhile, the farmers that are here, we jump in tractors and drive 4 or 5 hours down the road in a tractor to spend like tens of thousands of litres of diesel mowing and cutting and raking and baling hay, then putting it on trucks and spending tens of thousands of litres of diesel to bring it all back so we can feed cows. Tell me that and we used to just open a tap and grow grass, and now that water goes out to the ocean for environmental reasons, and meanwhile there's thousands of farmers around burning that much diesel. Tell me that's wrong. Tell me that's okay. So I generally don't. That was a long way of saying I don't do crypto, wasn't it? Bloody hell, that was a tangent. So to answer your question, I just don't like relying on things, because I'm relying on. So with crypto, you're relying on something that's not in your control. I don't dig on that. It's just how I am. I much prefer to have things well within my control that affect me. If things don't affect me, I couldn't care less. It doesn't matter. But when things that do affect me or my family and stuff, I need to kind of be in control of that. That's not like a tinfoil hat wearing sort of thing. It's just how I am. It's there's nothing that happens anywhere in the world that you can put your hand on your heart and say you're 100% happy with. You just can't. So I tend to try and do things all myself. That's just how I am. So we may get a good view of SpaceX rocket. Oh. It's a damn shame you don't have more than one phone. Scott, I'm looking at your comment here about that. Sorry, I'm just gone totally blank and reading stuff. Sorry, guys. So Scott's asking about this SpaceX launch. Oh, it's going by. I'm not sure what you mean by going by. Going by. Is that launching or is it just a flyby? Let me know what you mean. Are you talking about the satellites going past, or are you talking about a launch? I'm not sure where you are, dude. South Dakota water. It's probably very different. It's probably very the water. The irrigation is number one here. I wonder where you are. Dakota Water Rights Program, don't hold it against me. We'll put all the water to beneficial use where we can. It's not the same. Here it's run by the vote, I guess, and like the system that we're on is run by the federal government, and the federal government, they want votes. So the people who live in cities and stuff, not all of them, but that's where the votes are, and they're the ones going, oh, environment, they're killing, the farmers are killing the environment. Well, I can breathe out here just fine, no pun intended, but you struggle when you go to the city with all the smog and shit. But it's just different here. Like they play on the votes, and we just suffer for that. Like people in regional communities suffer for that. But anyway, I digress. This is a photography channel, not me sitting on my soapbox bitching at the government. The launch itself. You got a Pixel 4. I don't know if Pixel 4 has Astro mode on it. You may capture it that way. Yeah, you will actually. Your Pixel 4 will capture. If you've got a tripod for both of these things, if I was you, I would be shooting the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra. Just set it up as an Astro shot that we normally do here. Whatever works for you in the environment that you're in. Actually, pretty sure you take some gun photos anyway, Scott. Set it up the same way. I'd probably reduce the ISO a little bit because that rocket will give it a fair bit of flare. And I would set up your Pixel to do an Astro shot because it will capture it going through the air. At a 4-minute exposure, you'll get the whole lot. I think that would work pretty well. Going to ask that question. What question? Did I miss something? Pixel Mate. I have looked at that Pixel, that app that you're talking about there. But it's one of these things that I kind of look at and go, do I want to know another one? I don't see anything wrong with it. I had to play with it when you actually mentioned it to me a while ago now. I had a look at it, and it's one of these things that I've already got Snapseed, and I've got Lightroom. I'm not sure what else that was bringing to the table. I remember looking at it and going, I see nothing wrong with it. Is it something else that I need to add? Because I can't see any benefit of adding a third. If you think there is a third, let me know. If you think there's a good reason for having that third that Lightroom and Snapseed can't already do as far as editing goes, let me know. G'day, Dubai. We'll have a look at a couple of photos. So I've got 2 photos here to show you guys today, and I'll look at others at another time. Where do I go? There we go. So we'll use Lightroom for both of these. This is the first one, and so this is the first on the Facebook page, that Bloody Legends Facebook page, and that was, I remember looking at that going, that's clever, man. You've done well. I like that sort of photo. Like, it's been done to death. Yep. Sorry, I'm just reading this as I'm talking to you. It's probably the worst thing you can do with doing these live sessions, especially when I'm about to show you how to do something. Anyway, sorry, I'll go back onto this. When I saw this photo on the Facebook page, I was like, yeah, it's cool. It's, like I say, it's been done to death. But I think anyone who starts taking astrophotography photos, it's one of these photos that you've just got to take where you've got to get out there and get a nice high-powered flashlight and shine it into the sky, into that Milky Way. It's kind of like you're lighting up the Milky Way to take this sort of photo. So what he's done here, this Ron, I'm guessing he's not in here because he hasn't said anything there yet. See how the flashlight is like silhouetting his head? That's kind of important. You want to be in a situation where you're shining, because you can't see his feet, and you can't see his feet, so there's nothing there that you can identify what is there. So the light that you're using, you've either got to silhouette yourself against the sky. So he's not silhouetted against the sky, he's below the horizon. So you need to use that flashlight to silhouette yourself that way. So this looks like, so this is Lightroom on the phone, and Noskamian, is that you? Is this your photo, dude? Anyway, this is obviously taken on a S21 Ultra. This is Lightroom mobile. If you go into the info at the top here, that's where you can see the metadata for this image. This is the raw image that they sent to me. Let's go ahead and edit this bad boy. In Lightroom, for astrophotography photos, I generally like Lightroom for the most part over Snapseed. It is you. Good photo, man. With the exception, I'll use Snapseed from time to time. You know I do that. But the main tool is that dehazing tool. It's pretty powerful for this sort of photo. Sorry about that. Getting a bit dry. If I hit this auto button here, you can see it brings out the shadows quite a bit. We're not going to use this. I'm just demonstrating what it will do. I will generally hit the auto button on every photo that I edit just to see what the program thinks is the right thing to do. And you can see in there, you might be able to see there, you can actually see his legs now, but it's introduced a bucket load of noise and we don't want to do that. So I'll hit that undo button up the top there, and we'll do this manually. Going to hit the contrast up. Every time that I'm editing a photo like this, if it's a single exposure, which this one is, every single time that I'm moving sliders around, I'm watching that core. I'm watching what's happening in that there. That there to me is the most important part of this photo. The second part of this photo that's important is obviously the person with the light. The trees, the foreground, I'm not that concerned about that. You don't really look at that. Like the composition of this photo, he's sitting, or his head's pretty much on the bottom horizontal third, and he's pointing up, like there's a leading line into that Milky Way. So the Milky Way is the subject of this photo. So we want to keep that be in mind when we do the whole edit all the way through this. If we go into blacks, We'll increase the blacks a little. What is interesting, I'm not sure if you can see it on there. This is the raw file. I initially got the just a screenshot from the JPEG. It was really small, and it really highlighted. I'm not sure what happened with this. I'm not sure if you guys can see it. I think you'll be able to see it, but pretty much where the light comes into, like pretty much just there, when I zoom this out, it's like there's a magenta line going across where that light intersects, like on the horizon, like all the way through the image. Looks like there's a magenta line that goes through the whole lot. I don't know if you guys can see it or not. It doesn't matter what I do with that black. I thought I introduced it there with the black, but I didn't. That's as far as I'm going to go with that light. Contrast and blacks. That's it. If I go across to the color I'm pretty much okay with that. That's did it show there what the didn't show what the white balance was. Not sure how you find it on mobile. Don't know. I'm not going to change anything there. Actually, I might just try and decrease that. See if that line goes away. It doesn't. Not sure if you guys can see that or not. Anyway, we'll go across the effects tab. I'll increase the clarity. And what I'm doing right now, I do for pretty much every astrophotography photo that comes out of this particular camera. So increasing the clarity, increase the dehazing, and I'm almost done with that. Yeah, it's telling me to clean the spa. This is you're going to see all my reminders about to come up because it's a Sunday here, and every Sunday I've got to go put chemical and clean the spa. It's just what I do. Go across the details tab, go to the noise reduction. It's already up there a little bit. I'll zoom into the core a bit and adjust that noise reduction and just adjust the contrast, and I'll go to the color noise reduction as well. See if it gets rid of this magenta noise here a bit. I think that might have actually. It's not all gone, but it's close to being all gone. I'll go across, so that's as far as when I do edits on these things, I'd look at global adjustments and then local adjustments. That's what I refer to them as, and global adjustments is doing, go away, is doing the whole image, and the local adjustments are things like brushes and elliptical tools and gradient tools and things like that. So they're all the global adjustments that I'll do. I'll go over to selective on the side here, hit the plus, hit the elliptical, and I'll bring this around the core. You guys have probably seen me do this 100 times. I'm just going to bring that straight over the core like that. I'll go to light, increase the contrast a little bit. That's a little bit too wide, I think. That's a bit better. The color, I'll increase the temperature just a slight bit. That's like 5 or 6. What is that, 5? And the effects tab will increase the clarity and the dehazing just a little bit. The clarity more so. That's it. That photo, as far as I'm concerned, she's done. Now, if I touch and hold on that, you'll see the beginning, or the unedited and the edited. There's actually not that much in this one. The camera's taken a pretty bloody good job of that itself. But if you have a look at the core in particular, so that's the edited, that's the unedited. You can see there's more detail in the core on the edited one, and that's really what we're achieving here. Let me have a quick look through these comments before I go to the next one. You like select? Yeah, I do too. That select feature in Snapseed, I really like it because you can copy it and put it elsewhere. I really like doing that. It's quite a good one. Do you like the moment? Oh, sorry, I didn't even see your comment there. Do you like the moment lenses for, do you think that degrades the image by a moment lens on top of the camera lens? Thank you, Greg. I'll just tell you what I've got going on. So lots of different companies make lenses. I know Greg uses the moment lenses. And when I went on to Greg's podcast to talk about, we were having a chat before, I think we were having a chat before we did the podcast and we were talking about these lenses, I think, or were we talking about them on the podcast? I can't remember now, but it was definitely you I spoke to about this. And you sent me a photo of, I think you went out your back door or something and took some photos in the snow. and we started talking about the aperture and stuff of how much more light was coming in with those different lenses. So when I first started this channel, I thought, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. I'm going to teach people how to take photos of the night sky with your phones. I was going to actually teach people how to take photos with your phones. And we were down in Melbourne, and I said to Sarah, I'm going to go and buy some lenses, because I had an iPhone X at the time, just the one lens. Or was it 2 lenses? I can't bloody remember. 2, I think. I can't remember. Maybe 1. Doesn't matter. But I said to Sarah, I'm going to go get some lenses, so I've got some nice opportunity, I guess, or options to take better photos with different angled lenses, different fields of view. So anyway, at the time, and I thought, then the iPhone 11 was coming out, and I thought, well, that's got 3 lenses on it, the iPhone 11 Pro. And I went and bought that, and to this day, well, not to this day, but to the day when I spoke with Greg, I went, well, there's no really need for any wider lenses, because the camera comes with all of them. And if you've tried to take photo, anyway, we did this podcast, and Greg showed me. He said, no, it makes a difference. And he went outside. He's got moment lenses, and he went outside and he took some photos of some snow from memory up against a fence or something like that. But it was really high dynamic range sort of photo. It had some really bright areas and some really dark areas. And during the day, like, you could tell there's a difference, but was it like, should I go and spend whatever money it's worth to go and buy other lenses to get that little bit of light? And to me, it didn't make a lot of sense. I don't know if I could have made a lot more of a difference in the edit than what the lens did. So, with or without. So, in my opinion, I thought you could get pretty much the same quality of image when you edited it versus having that lens, and I wasn't convinced. And the more and more I thought about what Greg was saying, the more I thought there's probably a bloody good opportunity here to do something. And anyway, I reached out to Just Snow in the Backyard. I reached out to a company and I said, I've got this idea because all these lenses here have different apertures, and if you've tried to take, and night mode works on all of them. Night mode works well on one of them, and it works really shit on 2 of them. When you try and take an ultra wide photo at night of the Milky Way, like rising above the horizon, it's just shit. It's horrible with the iPhone, with any phone. With a wide angle lens, it just doesn't work very well. Now I thought, there's an opportunity here. We can probably put some wider angle lenses onto this phone, onto the main sensor, and get some cool photos. And that's what I was out doing last night, and the video will come this week. And anyway, these guys will sponsor that video. And the lens that they've sent, it's pretty bloody good. So we've got this is the wide angle sandmark lens, and it's I'll tell you all about it in the video when it comes out. But I'll tell you what, I'm glad I went on that podcast, because I wouldn't have even thought about doing this other than that. Like, there's the lens. I would not have thought about doing a video about this, and I'm telling you now, it works incredibly well. It works better than I thought it was going to work. I thought there's a good opportunity here, and it's a better opportunity than what I thought. But that will be out early next week. So it's not a moment lens. I've got my sister-in-law she does like cosmetic tattooing and stuff, so she uses a moment macro lens for that, and I've taken heaps of photos. I'll end up doing a video about that one as well. And I'll be honest and say the quality between the two, I couldn't tell you. I think they're both really good quality. I've got some other lenses here that another manufacturer has sent me, and I think they're good quality too. But this Sandmark one, I think, is my honest opinion. I would buy that. I think what I've achieved so far, and you'll see it in the video. I don't even know what the bloody thing's worth, to be honest. But it did a better job than what I thought it was going to do. But you'll see that shortly. That was a long way of saying, yeah, don't use moment stuff just yet. Let me just read through this. Sorry you're late. Patricia, where's your note if you're late? Ultra wide lenses are crap for night shots. Sometimes I wish I had telephoto lens instead. Have an 11 Pro or 11. The 1 to 9 is supposed to be pretty good. It's ultra wide. Not sure if it's for Astro. Oh, the 1 Plus. 1 Plus. That is an awesome segue. Let me show you. Let me show you the next photo that we will edit. Phone share. This one here, if you're on the... Oh, let's just quickly what Greg has to say, because it's usually not just bullshit. He's usually got something clever to say. The theory is that the wide camera aperture is 1.6. Ultra wide 2.4. Yes, I think that's right, Greg. I think you're absolutely on the money there. It's the wider aperture obviously lets in more light, and even though the ultra wide camera has a field of view that's wider, the aperture is smaller, so it lets in less light. And wait, can I? No, I can't show you yet. I can't show you. I was going to say I can show you exactly what he's talking about, but that's for the video. You have to wait. Yash, was that you that sent me? Did you send me this photo? Is this one your one? Yash, I'm not sure. Anywho, this is the next photo that we'll edit, and you may have seen this photo on the Facebook page as well. And when I saw this on the Facebook page, I actually asked him to send it to me, and it got mixed up in all the... I get so many freaking direct messages and message requests and stuff, and it just got lost in all of that. It's crazy how many of these things I get. But this is the photo that I saw on there, and I went, this is a perfect example of someone who's trying to take astrophotos in a heavily light polluted area, because that sky is just blown out. You can see that there are stars up there. It's just a really blown out sort of a photo. But we can certainly bring something out of this photo. I'd love to know where this was taken and what sort of Bortle lighting that you had, what the class of Bortle was. I'd love to know what that is. Do you actually know that? If you do, can you put a comment there? If you don't know, go to lightpollutionmap.info and just go to where, like, geographically put a marker where you took that photo, and it'll tell you what the Bortle lighting is for where you took this photo. I'd love to know that. So this is actually with a 1 Plus. If you look down there at the bottom there, the metadata down the bottom, 1 Plus AC2001. That's a number that I don't actually know what that is. Is there a regular, like a marketed number for that? Is that a different, like a model number or something? But anyway, let's go and have a look at this. We'll go to edit this. Hit the auto button again. Immediately it makes it a little bit better. Cool, thanks mate. It does make it better, which is why I hit that auto button on pretty much all of them. But I'm going to undo that. What it does, it gives me the insight that I can potentially do something with this image. I might have a look at that. That's a valid point. I reckon this is still a 30-second photo. It is a 30-second photo. So whoever that was, Dragonfly, it's just a model number. Okay, cool, thanks. Dragonfly said that would have to be a pretty short exposure though. Still a 30-second photo. You probably could have made it a little bit better by shortening that exposure, but we can fix this because I've already tried it and I got a pretty good image out of this. Rider, the DNG is a digital negative file, so that's a RAW file. So anytime that you shoot a RAW file on any camera, any phone, if it's a RAW file, it's usually a DNG file, which is a digital negative, and that goes back to your negative photos from way back when they would shoot with film. It's an unedited thing. It's just the negative, and it's the basic info. It's what got caught when they took the photo. And when you're editing with the old film, you would do that in the lab when you're processing that from that negative. So in this case here, it's just a digital version of that. So it's absolutely on the money. It's what every RAW camera does. Every RAW image, every RAW file will be named a DNG or something similar. We'll go into light and we'll drop that exposure down a little bit, increase the contrast a bit, drop the shadows, we'll drop the highlights down mainly for that building there, and we'll decrease the blacks. We're getting something better already. The color is blue as blue and I just don't like it. I'm going to bring that temperature up a little bit just so it's not as blue. The thing that's going to resolve this photo a lot is this dehazing slider. And you can see there now, by increasing that dehazing slider, I'm starting to get some of the core coming out of this photo. I'm going to increase the clarity as well. Go back to the color. I'll increase that white balance a bit more, just so we're not looking at something that's quite as blue. And I think that's better already. I'm actually going to reduce the amount of vibrance in this. That's better. I think it was looking a bit too purple. Reduce the vibrance in that, and I think that looks quite good. So as far as your heavily light polluted areas go, I think that's probably the way to address that. I'd really love to know if, Yash, if you can find out, shoot me an email or whatever, or put it on that Facebook group. I'd love to know what the Bortel was that you hit here, the Bortel I should say, what the lighting situation was, how much light pollution was in this photo. Because that photo, like that before, looks to me like it's blown out to all buggery. And I think we can certainly resolve that. But if this was somewhere that was, say, a Bortel 5, I would say if you shot this at 15 seconds, we would get a pretty good photo out of this at 15 seconds by doing the same or very similar sort of edit that I've just done there. I think it would look a lot better. But I'd love to know what the lighting situation was where you took this. That would be, for me, that would be a pretty bloody good thing to have. And it would be very helpful for anyone else who's in heavily light polluted areas. Can I explain the difference between... Oh yeah, sure. So, well, we'll just do it right here. So your vibrance is going to make it a brighter color, and your saturation is going to make more color. So there's vibrance all the way up. Your saturation will do something slightly different. If you look at the building in particular, there's your vibrance and what it's doing with that building. Bring that back down. Your saturation is going to put more color there, not so much brighter color. Hopefully, really a class 4? I'm really disappointed. I was hoping you were going to say 5. Right. You can definitely make this better with a 4. I've shot a lot better than this with a 4. And I know this phone is more than capable of doing a better photo with this one. What I would say to you is, firstly, bring back the ISO to 1600. And after that, I'd go to 15 seconds. I'm not sure with that OnePlus phone, is it incremental in seconds from 30 seconds down? Because on that Galaxy, it goes from 30 seconds down to 15 seconds. It doesn't give you anything in between. But if it did, I would say go 20 seconds. So depending on what the focal length is, I've probably spoken about the rule of 500 before. And every camera is slightly different, like the focal lengths on this camera and the focal lengths on this camera and the focal lengths on this camera are all going to be slightly different. And hey, what happened there? Just what I'm looking at here is not quite what you're looking at. and my iPhone sharing on the screen here just like took up my whole screen. I couldn't see anything. But the focal lengths are all different. So the way that the rule of 500 works is 500 divided by what the focal length is. So the focal length, say, might be the equivalent, might be say 25 millimeters, so it would be 500 divided by 25. The result would give you the maximum amount of shutter speed that you should use to photograph stars without the star trails. So if you have the ability to bring it down incrementally, you'll get it a lot more accurate, and you'll find a sweet spot on your phone or on your camera, depending on what you're using, that you'll know that at this shutter speed I'm not going to get star trails. So I'm much more diligent with that with proper cameras. Personally, I don't care too much about that with my phone, because the sensor is teeny tiny and I want to get as much light onto it as I can, and that's just how I kind of roll. And that's it. I'll just go through some of these questions, and I'm probably going to finish it up there. There was a question that someone had here before I saw that I didn't answer. So let me go. Someone was asking about stacking, or was it stacking, or was it time-lapse or something? I can't remember. I can't see it there. Don't know much about proper photo editing with Snapseed. I use it for the expand option to add white or black borders. It does more than that expanding. So someone's mentioned here, Ryder Craigie has mentioned that he uses, or he or she, I'm not sure, Ryder. Is that someone's name, or you just, I don't know, doesn't matter. Let's not go too far down that way, I'll probably upset someone. Because I do that. The expand option on Snapseed is bloody powerful. I think it's really, really clever the way it does stuff. I use that expand tool quite a bit to make images bigger. It works well when the outside of the frame, or the borders of the frame, are quite uniform or pretty, they're not too much detail into them, because then you can kind of get screwed over a little bit. But it works pretty well. I think it works pretty well. There was something else that someone asked about. How about 10x optical zoom on S21 shot? Wouldn't it be any? Would it be, I'm going to say no. It would be no good. With that rule of 500 in mind, I would say no. In fact, you don't get that option. So the when you go into pro mode on that S21, like there's things about the S21 that are just fantastic. I just love it as a camera. I think it's a fantastic camera. But there's things about the camera I think it just it drives me nuts sometimes when you work out this doesn't do what I expected it to do. Like the 108 megapixels only works in good lighting. It doesn't work in pro mode. So for the stuff that we're doing here, it just doesn't work. That's fine. Let's do using that pixel binning, and we're getting bigger pixel size. So that's okay. That's why we can shoot the way we shoot. But it also doesn't let you shoot in pro mode with the zooms that you've got on there. You've got the ultra wide and the regular. The rest of it, when you zoom, is a digital zoom, and that's for astrophotography. Digital zoom is shit. You don't want to do that. It's no point having it. The OnePlus 9 is supposed to. Okay, yep. Theories Ultra. I'm sure someone asked a question about if you could do something on a phone, and it was like a time lapse or something. I just can't find it. I'm sure someone asked. Let's go back into the later ones. No built-in pro mode in the iPhone. Is there an No. Camera Plus 2 is quite good. It is. Yes. Sorry guys, I'm just reading. You've all kind of gone with the questions. So I think it was actually Greg, again, you're kind of a source of knowledge for me, mate. He explained that the camera on the iPhones overheat. And I've emailed off a few different companies who make different apps, and none of them have actually answered this for me, which is odd. And that is that you can't shoot more than 1 to 2 seconds on the iPhone camera because it overheats the camera, apparently. So all the manufacturers who make the apps that are full manual apps, they don't go above a second. The Lightroom app has the camera on it and it doesn't go above 1 second. Halide doesn't go above 1 second. And all the ones that go, we can shoot for 30 seconds or we can do long exposures, well, they're not doing it the way you think they're doing it. They're doing it in 1 second increments and just putting them all together. And just like the night mode on the iPhone takes, 10 to 15 photos in that 30 seconds and stacks them together for exposure. So it's like a HDR sort of a photo. Someone asked about doing a time. That's what it was. Thank you. So you're thinking like me, Greg. You knew what I was looking for. So you can. There's no easy way to do it, and you can't do it all on a phone. So you have if it's an iPhone, you can do, if it's an iPhone 12, you can just go into your time-lapse setting, hit up time-lapse, and the phone recognizes that it's night, and it will just take a longer exposure for each one of the frames for the time-lapse. And it's okay. You'd want to be somewhere where it's no good at all doing that. So if you're in a situation where there's a lot of light pollution, it's just going to be shit. If you're in a situation like where I am here, I'm lucky enough that I've got no light pollution. It works okay, and you can kind of see a little haze of the galactic core passing through the air. If you use Nightcap app on the iPhone, that works so much better. It doesn't compress the final video like the iPhone time-lapse does. You'll end up with a longer video. You can speed it up in post afterwards. If it's an iPhone, that's the only two ways that I know how to do it. Other than that, you're going to want an intervalometer on your iPhone, and there is you're going to end up taking your night mode. That's a company that I look after their Facebook page. You don't want to see what messages they're sending these private companies. If you have an intervalometer on your phone, if you have a way of doing that, then you can bring those photos onto your computer and stack them into like iMovie or something like that and make your movie that way. It's so much easier to do. No, it's not easier at all. It's so much better on an Android phone because you've got that intervalometer app. Set up your camera to take your perfect nighttime photo, and then set your intervalometer app up over the top of that and just let it hit the shutter button every 40 seconds or so. And you'll end up with a bucket load of images, bring them in, edit one of them, copy that setting to the rest of them, and you'll end up with a pretty bloody good time lapse. And I've done videos on that before. There's no app that I know of that's going to do it all for you in the phone that I know. On Android, there just isn't one. Besides the way I just told you how to do it there. It's a manual way of doing it. On the iPhone, there are ones, but they're just not as good. Hopefully that makes sense. I've never heard of Halide. Yeah, definitely give it a go. It's I've done a video about all those different apps and whether they're worth having or not. And I've taken what I did in this video. It was kind of a blind test, if you like. And I went out and took photos with, I think there was 5 different apps and the native camera app on the iPhone, and took the same photo with all of them. And you honestly couldn't tell. For your day-to-day sort of photography, you couldn't tell. Unless there's something that specific that you wanted to get out of the app. If it's like sports photography, long exposure photography, things like that, I couldn't tell. I just couldn't tell the difference between these apps. Some of them just don't have the functionality that others do. So, for things like sports photography, you want to manually adjust that shutter speed, fill your boots. But the phone generally does a pretty bloody good job as it is. Huawei. See, Greg, I'm saying it right now, Huawei. Another thing that you've taught me. Telephoto in Pro mode. Yeah, right. Well, hopefully next month that Huawei P50 Pro is coming out. And if it is, that may well be the next phone that you see here. Even though I can't use it 5G anywhere in Australia because Chinese spies and all that sort of business that they say. But the camera on that thing, I think, is going to be probably better than that for what we do here, but we'll see. And the other phones that are coming out, obviously, is the Pixel 6. That'll be bloody awesome because that camera on the Pixel hasn't been updated for years, and they have updated it on this one, what all the rumours say, and that will be bloody interesting. And I will definitely get the iPhone 13 if it's punching out with that astrophotography mode, because that might change quite a few things that we do here. I know it is. Thanks, guys. I just got all those comments where you're helping me out as to what people were asking. Yes, it is the night lapse of the night sky. Maximum of 1 second on iPhone. Oh yeah, cool. From the photo, I'm still waiting for. Oh, really? You've been waiting for that long? At least you're getting some rain, I guess. Well, maybe, hopefully. When we get clouds, we generally don't get rain. It just pisses me off. It's like, if you get a cloud up, rain, give me some water. Or go away and let me shoot some night skies. Not night photography. You tried time. Devo, is that an app for the iPhone, or is that an app for something else? Is there an easy way to edit multiple photos at once, later put in? Yes. Oh, okay. There's an iPhone. I'll have a look at that. Lapse it. I'll definitely have a look at that. I like doing time-lapse stuff. I think it's kind of interesting. Is there a way to edit multiple photos at once to put them into a time-lapse? Yes. So the way that you would do it is on a computer, though. You don't do it all on a phone. So you'd bring them all into, say, Lightroom. Lightroom is how I do it anyway. And I would do all those global adjustments that I was talking about. So the adjustments that affect the whole photo. Then do that to the first photo, and then hit shift and go to the last photo and click on the last photo, and then synchronize all the settings. So it'll put those settings across all of them. You might have 400 photos there, so it saves you editing those 400 photos the same way. And all of the time lapses that I've done for the Samsung, that's the way I've done it. It brought in a heap of photos. So I just copied and synchronized that settings all the way across all of those, and it works really well. I do that. Honestly, I do that with so many of my, even with the professional work that I do. If I go and shoot a wedding and I take, say, 50 photos in exactly the same lighting setup, I will do that. I will edit the first one the way I want it, and then I will highlight all the way through to the end of that lighting sequence, hit the last one, synchronize all that, then go through the individual photos and get rid of flies and blinking people and all that sort of stuff. Devo? I want to call you Devo, as in devastated. That to me says Devo. Devo's a thing that we say here a bit. I guess you don't say that here, where you are. It got copyright strike on the video, so I don't know that you'll be able to see it. Oh, okay. You shouldn't use those music, mate. There's a guy on here that does music that I was watching before. Anyway, I will have a look at that lapse it and see what it can do that the regular time lapse doesn't do. And I reckon that will probably do us, guys. Let's have a quick look at the photos. You're sending me dudes. You're a bloody legend. You're sending me dollars. That's the first time that someone's ever sent me dollars through super chats. It's never happened. I've been in super chats with many YouTube creators and YouTube educators, and I've always seen those things going through, and I just think that's fantastic. And thanks, man. I absolutely appreciate it. Let's have a quick look at Facebook photos, because I enjoy doing that. Let's have a look over here. When I set this up originally, the the Facebook page. Let's just get rid of that because that's a. I just realised who was who that I was talking to here. Sorry, man. So have a look at some of these, and I don't actually see these all the time. How big's this group now? 134 members. I really like that people are helping each other out in this group. I think that's what I made it for. That's what I wanted to start it for, and it's working really well for that. I'll just move this on my screen so that I can still see what else is going on. So I can still see your questions and stuff. You should still be able to see that. I'm just going to check. Yeah, you do. You can still see that. So this here, oh, that's you again, man. This looks to me like it could be done better using the stacking method that I've done a video on, and that is taking 2 frames. So this is on a tripod. Looks like your tripod's moved a bit throughout this photo. You've got those like bumpy lines, maybe. It just doesn't seem as smooth as it should to me. And what I would do with this photo is I would take 2 frames or lots of shots. So you've taken the time-lapse of the stars moving around, and then I think it's moved. Like looking at that basketball hoop, the post on that basketball hoop looks like it's moved a little bit. But I would take a photo, I would take the frame of the stars and then take another frame, just light painting the foreground, like the basketball hoop, and then merge them together with a double exposure in Snapseed. I think that would work quite well. That's Scott's. Yeah, bloody gun. These are great photos. Absolutely love the core in these 2 photos. That's just awesome. Oh, you've got a logo down there. I didn't see you had a watermark on there. And you're the one with the dog. That's awesome. I love that you I love that you've got watermarks on your photos. That's a paw print. You've made my day. I think that's fantastic. I didn't actually notice that before. That's really cool. Let's go back into here. I love that people are getting creative with some of their photos. Oh, I wanted to show you guys something else too. I'll show you that in a second. I'm glad I just saw this photo before I got out of here. That's kind of cool. You're going to do something. Oh, it's Mercury. I really like, even though you go, it's just my phone, it's just a dot in the sky. I kind of get a kick out of going, that's Mars. Well, that's Mercury. I kind of get a kick out of that you can capture a planet on that little tiny camera. I haven't looked through these for ages. Whoa, what's that? Not sure if you've thrown something there, or is that a drone maybe? Using a drone for photography? I think you are. I reckon that's a drone. That looks like a drone to me. That's creative. I like that. Yeah, it's got to be a drone. That's very clever. Look at that Harley. That's amazing. That's an incredible looking motorcycle. Just joking, guys. These 2. The core in this, I think this was an iPhone 12 from the Philippines. I'm almost certain it was an iPhone 12 from the Philippines. I really like this here better than the other one. It's obviously taken from the same place. But the edit in this, I think, is just a little bit too much. I think this looks more natural. I think the galactic core in that photo looks pretty bloody good. We're getting whose is this? Oh, it's Greg's. Man, you live in a good spot. I love the color. Every time I look at your photos, I think that's an awesome place to go. Like, it'd be an awesome place to go. Like, the detail in this is just, yeah. I might have to hop on a plane and come and visit with you. Very, very clever photos here, guys. Very clever photos. Not sure what was going on here. I saw these. It's like you're getting funky and creative. And someone else was using, was it this one? This is that sky replacement tool with the Photoshop camera. Some very, very interesting stuff. Let's get back into here. Oh, you are in here, Scott. Good photos, man. Ah, the basketball net shoot. Looks like the pole shook though. The basketball pole. Hopefully the next iPhone will be able to capture the moon. Well, hopefully. Hey, dude, thanks. That's awesome. Hopefully the next one will do better shots of the moon. But I've got something else I'm testing out very shortly. And in fact, I'm not. I won't go on about it too much. But I actually got a telescope. I finally got a telescope to take some photos of the moon. I'm just trying to work out how to drive the bloody thing at the moment, and I'm not about to invest a heap of time into photography with telescopes because I don't have one. But I just kind of thought it'd be cool. What I wanted to show you. So thanks, Scott. Awesome, man. I really appreciate it. That's 2 super chats in one live session, and I've never had one before. It's just, yeah, it's very, very cool. Very, very cool. Greg McMillan, that would be, yeah, I'll come and visit you, man. It's an awesome part of the world where you are. Before all this shit happened, we were talking about Canada and stuff, and we shall see. We shall see. It's a long way to go. I get fidgety just going to Japan. That's only like 8 hours. What I was going to show you. So I'm a member, and I'm sure you guys are members as well, in lots of different photography groups on Facebook. Just excuse me a second. And in these groups, you often hear people talking about putting up photos and saying, I took this with my whatever, my Pixel phone or whatever, and every time I see it, I used to get all wrapped around the axles about bullshit. You took that with that phone. It's just, I know it didn't happen, and so many people give them all the likes and praises and say how just awesome they are for doing it. And I saw one just the other day, and I thought I'm just going to show you guys because it was just, that's not that one. This is the photo. How good's that? And I called this bloke out in this photo. This is from go back here. How do I pause that? I can't pause it. Anyway, look at the moon in that. You can see there it's clearly not from that photo. And this is apparently taken from a Pixel photo. It's like, give me a freaking break. From a Pixel phone. And if you look closely at this, and I encourage you guys to look at, every time that you look at, oh, my lights just died. Every time you look at photos on the internet and people are, Greg, thanks, man. You're bloody awesome. Every time I look at photos on Facebook and I go, that's not right. It's bullshit. This is one of the telltales. How do I get back in there? Here. If you see where the moon photos just don't look like this from phones. They just don't. Not even the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra with its awesome zoom doesn't look as good as that moon does right there. This bloody thing, stop playing. When I hit stop, it actually stops, and I can't pause it. But if we have a look at, this is not going well, Shane. See where the moon comes across that tree, and the tree branches are all like lighter where the moon is. Yeah, that's just it's bullshit. It's not right. And they've tried to pass it off as their own sort of a photo. But anyway, when I saw this, I thought I want to share that with you guys because it's just bullshit. I see it so often, and when I see this, I'm so glad that we've got this other Facebook group going on, because so far I haven't seen anything in there that I go, liar, pants on fire. When you guys are editing photos and you're doing something manipulative, I haven't seen anyone yet that hasn't said, this is how I did it. And that's what I really like about the group that we're in. Yeah. So I called this guy out. I said, dude, you can't do that. It doesn't happen. You've either got an external lens on there, which is kick-ass lens, or it's clearly a multiple image stacked in a program. He's like, no. Anyway, But what I wanted to show you last night, that was that. In another sort of thing I wanted to show you was when I was out last night taking some photos with that. You can't see that now because the light's got out. Oh, it's struggling. Oh, it's really struggling. Anyway, when I was out there taking, because that light there's got out, when I was taking photos last night with that Sandmark lens, I also had the Samsung out there, and I took some photos with it as well. And I found something which, oh no! See you, Greg. Good to see you, man. Thanks for the dollars, dude. I really appreciate it. What the hell time is it there? You've got to go to work now. What I noticed, those of you with the Samsung Galaxies S21 Ultras, I'm not sure if all of them do it. I only noticed it last night. Because I shoot RAW as well as the JPEGs, the RAW uses a different lens. Did you know that? I didn't know that. Let me show you something. And I'm yet to find out why it does that. I haven't found any reason that it does that yet. And I haven't found any documentation to say that it actually does do it. But hold on, I'll go back to these photos. So this photo here is, see what Greg had to say there. Oh, I thought he said something else. Night shift. Oh! So here's this. See this pole that's here? This is a little solar panel that's used for lighting. And see this photo here? This here, the one that you're looking at right now, is the RAW file. And that one there is the, go back, is the JPEG file. I have to work out a better way to do this next time to explain things. But that little fence that's in front, and then the, bloody hell. Then the fence that's in front is a bit further away. It's, I find this really interesting. It's, the regular photo, so the JPEG file, has a narrower field of view than what the RAW file does, and it's from the same button push. I haven't done anything different. It's just the same button push. So that's really, really interesting. I find that really interesting. I don't know why, and I only noticed it last night, and I only had a look around the interwebs this morning to see if I could find a reason why, and I haven't found anything yet. But if I do find why, I'll certainly let you all know. All right, guys, that's it for me for now. Stay safe, stay cool, and get there and take plenty of photos. All right, guys, I'll catch you next week. Well, I'll catch you in 2 weeks for this sort of thing, but you'll see videos between now and then. Catch you later.